a big hand for errors, applause for mistakes. Without them we wouldn't be here. Let's hear it for inexactitude, for imprecision, bravo. For fudging it, hip hip, 3 cheers. DNA of twisted double helix fame is an expert at that self-replication game. But once in a million times it goes wrong, and thanks to that we're singing the song. Won't you give a big hand for errors, applause for mistakes? Without them we wouldn't be here. Let's hear it for inexactitude, for imprecision, bravo. For fudging it, hip hip, 3 cheers. If that new mutation hits an egg or seed, which managed to combine together and then lead to one new fungus, plant or beast, that fate will be a little different at least. That mutation will probably reduce our new pal's ability to reproduce. But every now and then a mutation arrives, gives you a better chance of making more lives. For imprecision, bravo. For fudging it, hip hip, 3 cheers. When the kids inherit that mutated gene, they're fitter than they otherwise might have been. To have more kids themselves and pass it on, and so it spreads through the population. Let's award the first prize for cock-ups, the second for slips. Without them we're nothing but slimy algae. Put your hands together for things that go wrong. Take off your hats to serendipity. Won't you give a big hand for errors, applause for mistakes? Without them we wouldn't be here. Let's hear it for inexactitude, for imprecision, bravo. For fudging it, hip hip, 3 cheers. For fudging it, hip hip, 3 cheers. For fudging it, hip hip, 3 cheers. Give a big hand for errors, applause for mistakes. Without them we wouldn't be here.
Every 11 seconds, a girl is mutilated somewhere in the world.
Genital mutilation, also known as FGM, is a medically unnecessary and painful practice of deliberately damaging the female genitalia. It is a procedure practiced in over 28 African countries, as well as in other parts of the world, such as Asia and the Middle East. Approximately 140 million women today have been circumcised, usually between the ages of 4 and 14. The procedure involves the cutting of the external female sex organ, generally using unsanitary tools such as rocks, razor blades, and knives. Typically, it is performed without anesthesia, and the girls are held down or otherwise restricted by the practitioners. This inhumane practice has no health benefits and does not have any major religious justifications. However, women often consent to the procedure due to social and economic pressures.
It is believed that female genitals are unhygienic and impure. Common views on female genitals are that they are ugly and will grow to be unwieldy if not cut back or sewn up. It is also believed that FGM can improve fertility and can prevent infant mortality during birth. In addition, sewing or otherwise shutting the vaginal opening safeguards female virginity, which ensures that the woman is pure.
Uncircumcised women cannot marry and do not have a high social status in tribes that practice FGM. Circumcision increases sexual pleasure for the men as they no longer have to worry about the woman's needs. In addition, the removal of sexual pleasure for females increases their value on the marriage market as husbands do not have to supervise their wives as much since adultery is less likely. Therefore, couples can ensure that their kids are their own. There is a heavy social pressure on parents to have FGM performed on their children, as it is supposedly crucial in raising proper children. Performing FGM on children and wives increases and ensures status of families and women as well, and women who refuse circumcision are looked down upon in society. Though no major religions like Islam or Christianity condone the practice of female circumcision, many practitioners use religion as justification.
FGM is defined as the partial or total removal of the female genitalia or any form of intentional injury to the female genital organs for no medical reason. There are 4 classifications of FGM. Type 1, the clitoridectomy, is the partial or total removal of the clitoris and or the prepuce. 80 to 90% of all circumcisions are of this type. The second type, excision, is the partial or total removal of the clitoris and the labia minora, with or without excision of the labia majora. Type 3, infibulation, consists of the narrowing of the vaginal orifice with the creation of a covering seal by cutting and appositioning the labia minora and or the labia majora, with or without excision of the clitoris. 10 to 15% of circumcisions are infibulations. Any other harmful practices are classified as type 4, such as pricking, piercing, incising, scraping, or cauterizing the female sex organs. For the most part, there is no sanitation or sterilization of materials, and a lack of trained medical professionals is rampant in countries in which FGM is prevalent. The recent medicalization of female circumcision by moving the process to a hospital setting is legitimizing the practice and encouraging it to be continued as a medical procedure.
High infertility rates result from circumcision, which contradicts the
Hello, peace be unto you, and welcome to another episode of your Human Service News and Information. I am Hasson Rashid, and I'll be here with you for approximately 25 more minutes. It's excellent being here with you, and it's such a great achievement to come into your lives like we do here at Cctv daily. Okay, I guess we're going to get back to some information pertaining to or relating to that opening video, which was about FGM. And I know some of you out there in our viewers base aware of what FGM is. That's a female genital mutilation, and it's a practice that's it's dominant. It's predominant in third world countries like Asia, third world countries in Asia and South America. But the fact is that it's illegal in the United States, and some of the immigrants are trying to bring that practice right here to the United States, but we won't accept it. If they come out and say try to legalize it, female genital mutilation is a no-no, and we should not participate in it. And we should join those who are condemning and protesting female genital mutilation. We're going to get back into that in a minute, but I'd like to try to update you on a few things that's happening right here in Massachusetts, okay? Hasson Rashid, Human Service News and Information, okay? That's what this is. State screws up leave families of disabled teens scrambling. Mass health coverage cancels repeatedly over coding area, okay? 5 investigators is exposing a state bureaucracy mess that has left parents of a disabled teenager scrambling month after month. The ongoing problem of the Millers of Haverhill was supposed to be fixed months ago, but it kept coming back. It all started in December when the family received a letter from the State Department of Transitional Assistance, okay, saying their son Joe's mass health medical assistance was being cut off, okay? Joe's mass health medical, it's not a laughing matter, it's very serious, okay? But the reason we do not know where you are living. For a government agency to send me a letter to my address telling me that they don't know where I live absolutely makes no sense, said Eric Miller, the teenage father. It turns out the family has been living in the same Haverhill apartment for years now. The arrival of that letter in December was also the start of a monthly runaround to get the medical coverage reinstated. You call A, they tell you to call B. B tell you to call C, and C tell you to call A again. Okay, wait a minute. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, not yet. Okay, and they just keep you going back and forth and back and forth. Men's health is critical for 13-year-old Joe Miller. He has spinal muscular atrophy, a genetic disease affecting a part of the nervous system that controls voluntary muscle movement. Joe needs around-the-clock care, which includes a personal care attendant during the day and a nurse at the night. All of this stuff helps me to do a lot of things that normal kids are not able to do, said Joe. Adding to a frustration, for every month the Millers managed to get Joe's medical assistance reinstated. They received another letter a few weeks ago, a letter cutting it off again, okay? And they got to the, no, there's got to be somebody who can fix this, said the teen's mother, Dana Miller. And from what I understand, we are not the only family involved in this. 5 investigators caught up with the Health and Human Service Secretary Mary Lou Sanders at a board meeting for the Commonwealth Health Insurance Connector. It seems like the state should be able to fix this. It shouldn't take months after months after months, unquote, said investigator Mike Baudet. Absolutely, replied Sutters. This should be the fixable problem. Secretary Sutters promised her office will get to the bottom of this. Obviously, you're raising a question, said Sutters. I want to get the information, and I'm sure DTA Commissioner Jeff McCoo will resolve this. He's a very responsive commissioner. It's absurd. If you're not crying, you're laughing, said an exasperated Eric Miller. Do you think that this is ever going to be resolved? Asked Bennett. There's always hope, but no, said Miller. I have a feeling that in 30 days, I'll be calling Mass Health again. The Executive Office of the Mass Health and Human Services. Okay, this graph don't want to go away. Okay, the Executive Office of Health and Human Services says the problem is fixed for real this time, and blame it on coding error. The Millers say 2 different states workers told them they aren't the only ones dealing with this issue, but state officials would not address that. Even after 5 investigators provided names of the employees, the family says told them this. However, the state tells 5 investigators the safeguards are now being put in place so this doesn't happen again. State screws up leave families on disabled teens. Mass health coverage cancels repeatedly over coding. Okay, Justice Department program no longer uses disparaging term felons and convictions. Okay, so that's a change in the metamorphosis in the Justice Department. In their terminology, the term felons and convict. The Justice Department program no longer uses disparaging term felons and convicts, okay? President Barack Obama, now this is breaking news alert right here. This is just coming out all over the nation. President Obama says listens as U.S. Attorney Loretta Lynch speaks in the Roosevelt Room of the White House. Okay, that's this is a while back. Okay, the Justice Department. That's another addition to this article, but we don't have it here. So right now we have this: the Justice Department Office of Justice Program is eschewing the term felon and convicts when officials refer to individuals convicted of crime, opting instead for less disparaging labels. Assistant Attorney Carol Mason announced last week. The Office of Justice programs plan to substitute terminology such as persons who committed a crime and individuals who was incarcerated in speech and other communications as part of an effort to remove barriers that officials say hinder progress of those who render societies after completing their prison sentence. That's paying their time, okay? Paying their time to the government. I have come to believe that we have a responsibility to reduce not only the physical but also the psychological barriers of reintegration. Ms. Mason wrote Wednesday in a guest post for the Washington Post. The label which we fix also those who have served time to drain their senses of self-worth and perpetuate a cycle of crime. Their very things, reentry programs are designed to prevent. The announcement follows a series of initiatives introduced as part of the Justice Department's first National Reentry Week, through which law enforcement officials hope to reduce recidivism by changing features of criminal justice systems. So you can no longer look towards the government referring to people who have been in trouble with the law as felons and convicts. They're changing the terminology, okay? That's a great thing. Okay, I'd like to get back to that opening video about the female genital mutilations, but right now I want to go back to the National Organization of Human Services last broadcast on Human Service News and Information. We introduced a notice that came out from the National Organization of Human Services that was defining advocacy. Everybody's worried about advocacy. What the heck is the definition of advocacy? Everybody's in community action activity, or everybody who's out here in the community engagement. They want to know what the term of advocacy is. But right now, I want to read you off official address by the National Organization of Human Services pertaining to the definition of advocacy. Okay, National Organization of Human Services defining advocacy. In National Organization of Human Services is a medium for encouraging social justice and human equality. As such, advocacy is a practice for influencing and challenging public policy, as well as perceptions about human service-related issues and concerns through persuasive argument for the rights of all members of society, okay? So, the National Organization of Human Service standards addressing advocacy standards. Okay, now they have standards addressing advocacy. Okay, and a lot of folks don't know about that. Human service professionals, advocates for a helping environment that protects and promote the rights of affected communities. Human service professionals plan, implement, monitor, and evaluate advocacy efforts for effectiveness and responsiveness to clients, consumers, and community needs, okay? Human service professionals promote the continuing development of their profession. They encourage membership in professional associations, support research endeavors, fosters educational advancement, advocate for appropriate legislative action, and participate in other related professional activities. Human service professionals are aware of local, state, and federal laws. They advocate for change in regulations and statutes when such legislation conflicts with the ethical guidelines and or clients' rights. Where laws are perceived by human service professionals as being harmful to individuals, groups of or communities, human service professionals consider the conflict between the values of obeying the law and the values of serving people and may decide to initiate social action. Human service professionals focus on advocating needs of undeserved, protected, and other special needs populations. Human service professionals help employers, communities by helping them identify community leaders and organizations for effective action. Okay, we're going to stop right there, but I know some people out there, and they might be wondering, what is he talking about? All these things about standards, human service standards, about advocacy. Well, this is Human Service News and Information, and I'm your host, Hasson Rashid, and I'm here with you every Wednesday. Okay, that graph kept popping up, and that's a graph that's depicting some of the statistics concerning chronic female related to chronic female genital mutilations. We want to get back to that, show you a little bit more about that. This graph, this is a very important graph, and if it wasn't important, I wouldn't be trying to display it to you. But female genital mutilation is a problem on Earth, and it's something that has to be stopped, okay? All right.
Common belief that FGM increases fertility rates. Circumcised women often experience painful menstruation for the rest of their lives, in addition to difficulty urinating. FGM causes the sex organs to become permanently damaged, so they become more susceptible to tearing during sexual intercourse. Excessive bleeding due to improper wound closures can lead to death. Also, the chances for getting infections increases, many of which can lead to death. The resulting blood flow increases chances of STIs and HIV. However, the psychological effects of FGM are the most devastating. Women often experience trauma and shock during the procedure because they are held down and forced against their will.
The most effective approach is a non-coercive and non-judgmental one, with a primary focus as the fulfillment of human rights and the empowerment of women. FGM must be substituted with rituals that are not harmful to women, including community meetings, cross-generational conversations, male discussions.
Okay, now the message is help us to end female genital mutilations, okay? So that's right here in Massachusetts too. It's going on here, but I don't know if it's legal here. But anybody come up and tell you they want to cut on you because there's something wrong, no, don't you accept that. Even if you're in the hospital, they want to cut on you, perform female genital mutilation. Don't let them do it, okay? Survivors of female genital mutilation, which involves removing part or all of the girl's outer sexual organs, and can result in physical complications, death in childbirth, lifelong trauma, warn that American girls are being taken out of the country to be cut and may be subject to mutilation on U.S. soil. So female genital mutilation has been illegal in the United States under federal law since 1996. But lack of prosecution and desire to hold on to what is seen as a deep-rooted cultural practice means American girls are still being cut. Okay, the absence of widespread knowledge and open discussion about female genital mutilation places these girls, many of whom are sent unaware or on vacation to be cut at all. So I'll tell you what, to cut this long story short, I want you to contact your elected officials and you tell them, state and federal and local too, local municipal policy makers that you got to do something, create some legislation locally, statewide, and nationally to prevent young females or older females from being subjected to this practice, heinous practice of female genital mutilation. That's right. Contact your elected officials and tell them you want something to be done. Okay, if it's just just create a bill or some legislation, put it out there on the floor in the government and tell them that something's got to be done, not only here, but internationally about female genital mutilation. Okay, I'm Hasson Rashid, and there's another subject that is on my mind that, we're always short for time. We never have enough time to all the things that we want to do here at Human Service News and Information. But if time permits, if we have a little bit time left, I want to introduce this other subject to you right here, and this is the one about this is the subject that is going to help poor people to circumvent housing discrimination or housing segregation. Okay, so I'm going to share a little bit of this video with you, and this is going to take us to the end of the broadcast too. But until next time, I leave you with the fact that keep your nose clean, play it straight, and don't forget to help someone in need of your help. Keep your nose clean so that you can be successful. Okay, this is a video on furthering fair housing. New laws are coming down, and that's amended to the Fair Housing Act that will help to eliminate housing desegregation, okay, and discrimination too. So I want you to see this one. All right, a little bit of this, but don't fret though if we don't get it all in.
Thank you. My name is David Black. I'm with the Community Affairs Department of the OCC. The theme of this year's conference is New Pathways to Economic Opportunity. And over the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to explore this relationship between place and economic opportunity and why that's important for our work here in community development. We're also going to discuss a new initiative from HUD that is a good opportunity to bring communities together around these issues of regional equity and economic opportunity. To do that, we have two wonderful speakers who are very knowledgeable in this subject. To my left is Brian Green, Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Office of Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity at HUD, and Kalima Rose, Senior Director for the Center for Infrastructure Equity at PolicyLink. Kalima and Brian, thank you for joining us today. Kalima, to get started, it's been 14 years since